Hey, it's Kinnaid here with my first video.
It's all bullshit!
Well, you're half right, Arnold. Well, this is the second video I'm uploading. It's actually an upgraded version of the first video. The full list of why I felt the need to do this will be in the next video for anyone who cares.
Oh, okay!
Oh, shit. It's Contrapoints. Dressed as a Nazi?
I call him Fister Roboto.
But it doesn't just fist him. Tell him.
He's a fully integrated, multi-fetish artificial being.
Well, let's see what
Fister Roboto
has to say now.
Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about how to recognize a fascist.
There are plenty of them. Antifa, Black Lives Matter, KKK, neo-Nazis, etc., etc. You can usually identify them by how they use violence to suppress others.
To begin, let's take a look at what fascism is. Contemporary fascists share three core beliefs. 1. People of European heritage are or ought to constitute a biological, cultural, and political unity known as the white race, sometimes dog-whistled as Western culture. 2. Jews are masterminding the destruction of the white race through multiculturalism and non-white immigration, a plot that fascists call white genocide or ethnic replacement. 3. The only way to save the white race is to establish a white homeland, or ethno-state, from which non-whites and degenerates must be purged. Now, as I've argued in past videos, all three of these beliefs are false.
I'm confused. Are you saying white people don't come from Europe? The other two are very Nazi-esque claims. However, you seem to be confusing Nazi with fascist. While it is true that all Nazis are fascists, not all fascists are Nazis.
The idea that appreciating European culture is in some way linked to establishing a white ethno-state is just nonsense.
Wow, we actually agree on something. Just for that, I will call you Contra this time.
Shortly after the Charlottesville rally, a post titled "Fixing the Alt-Right" appeared on Poll, the image board where millennial Nazis talk strategy and trade pictures of Japanese nymphettes.
"4chan. You're getting your information from 4chan, the tumor of the internet." Okay, back to the video. After all that 4chan shit.
So for the rest of this video, I'll be describing the particular strategies that fascists use to code their ideas, and make them more palatable to conservatives, centrists, and liberals. Strategy 1. Outright denial. Never reveal your power level.
It's over 9,000!
Disavow anyone who reveals their power level. This means that if someone acts like a fascist, has fascist beliefs, repeats fascist talking points, and hangs out with other fascists, the fact that they publicly denounce fascism should be worth absolutely nothing to you, and shouldn't even enter into your consideration of whether they're a fascist.
Well, no shit.
Fister Roboto.
A fascist doesn't call themselves a fascist. No one believes themselves to be evil, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Strategy 2. Euphemism. Fascists constantly shift their terminology in order to avoid the negative connotations that develop around the names of their movements whenever people figure out what they really are. So they insist they aren't Nazis or white supremacists, just white nationalists or alt-right. But as people catch on to the fact that white nationalists and the alt-right are just Nazis, they'll shift their terminology again.
Just because one person may be a neo-Nazi or a white supremacist in a group of people, that doesn't make the entire group that as well. They probably change their names to avoid the stigma you place on them for one or two people of that group who also happen to be something else. Every group has shitty people in it, and that's what they are. Just shitty people. Not a group of shitty people, but a group with some shitty people in it. God damn it.
Fister Roboto.
You are making me repeat myself.
Strategy 3. Pedantry. It's absurd to call me a Nazi. The German National Socialist Party hasn't existed since 1945.
This isn't a minor detail. The statement is a fact.
That's right, and I bet he's an isolationist too, not an expansionist like the Nazis. Fascists use this kind of selective pedantry to dodge derogatory labels, and also to bog you down in a petty terminological dispute. This is a good way to waste your time and divert your attention away from whatever led you to call them a Nazi in the first place.
It's about the truth. The far left has been labeling anyone and everyone to the right of them as a Nazi for years. They have watered down one of the most tragic events in human history. No one wants to be associated with the Nazis, except for neo-Nazis. It has been tossed around so much that the only way to fight it is with the truth.
Strategy 4. Secret symbols. The best symbols to use for this purpose are ones that are not primarily associated with fascism, or at least have some other meaning, such as the Athala rune or the Iron Cross. Better still are symbols that, until adoption by fascists, are completely innocuous. Modern fascists have taken to using almost arbitrary emoji as a way to wink and nod at each other, notably the frog, after Pepe.
Oh my god, it's just a green frog. That's all Pepe was.
The milk.
Seriously? Milk? Milk is a hate thing now? Why couldn't it have been about vitamin D?
And the OK sign.
The OK symbol? Are you kidding me? How is that a symbol of white supremacy? Have you completely lost it?
Lose it. It means go crazy. Nuts. Insane. Bonzo. No longer in possession of one's faculties. 3 fries short of a happy meal. Wacko!
Strategy 5. Camaraderie of the accused. The left accuses everyone of racism. They think all white people are Nazis. If it's acceptable to attack and censor me, they'll come for you next. Fascists have very effectively exploited the general hostility towards social justice warriors, especially online. Unfortunately, not all leftists have my connoisseur's eye for detecting fascism, and some of them do throw the label at centrists or liberals.
When you lump everyone into one category and viciously assault them, then they will group together and respond to their attackers.
Strategy 6. Irony, jokes, satire, and memes. Of course I wasn't actually being racist. It was just an edgy meme. Can't anyone take a joke anymore, or will the Antifa fascists violently attack you over humor now, too? Here's a uniquely millennial twist on the racist dog whistle. You shroud your sincere ideas in cartoon characters and memes, and then when called out, you mock your accuser for being a clueless normie who isn't in on the joke.
It's a frog.
Sometimes irony can be a safe way to explore ideas that you're not quite ready to own yet. Before I realized I was transgender,
Saturday?
If I cared about what you do on the weekend, I'd stick a shotgun in my mouth and pull the trigger with my toes.
I used to jump at any opportunity to cross-dress, ironically. So when you see people joking about being Nazis, they could just be joking, or they could be using irony to partially conceal the truth. It's difficult to tell the difference, and that's the point. But Kekistan is just a satire of identity politics. Well, it's a hilarious satire of civil rights movements that just happens to use a Nazi battle flag.
The Kekistani flag is not a Nazi flag. These are Nazi flags. This is the Kekistani flag. Yes, they look very similar to each other. The black crossbars, the central logo, and smaller logo in another quadrant. They designed it that way just to trigger you. For crying out loud, it has the goddamn 4chan symbol on it. Do you even know the origin of the word Kek? And no, it has nothing to do with the KKK. It has everything to do with, and you'll never guess it, the World of Warcraft. That's right. In the early days of WoW, a bunch of nerdy players realized that the game had a system in place to stop cross-faction communication. However, it did not take players long to realize that it was a simple letter-for-letter swap. So the K becomes an L, and the letter E becomes an O. So when you type in Kek as a Horde player, the Alliance player will see it as LOL.
Mr. Roboter.
Got trolled by a bunch of 4chan B-tard WoW players.
Congratulations!
Strategy 7. Shifting blame. Why doesn't the mainstream media cover violent anti-white organizations like Black Lives Matter or Antifa? This is essentially just a tu quoque fallacy, especially heinous because of the equivocation between fascist violence and anti-fascist violence, and between white nationalism and black civil rights.
Violence is violence. I don't care whether you think your side was right or not. The fact is, Antifa and Black Lives Matter are dangerous, violent organizations that only serve to further the divide in this country. Use your words, not your fists, to make a point.
Shortly after the Charlottesville incident, our proto-fascist president called out Antifa and the alt-left, a term fascists invented to distract liberals and centrists and establish the assumption that there must be some leftist equivalent of the alt-right.
Actually, he called out both sides, as seen here.
We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides.
Try again.
Strategy 8. Incrementalism. You don't have to support a white ethno-state to want common sense policies about immigration. Of course I don't support violence against the non-white people already here, but we do have a right to preserve our boundaries in our culture, don't we? The common thread in all fascist strategies is deception and manipulation, often aimed at representing what is essentially an attack on non-white people as a defense of white people and white culture.
How is a secure border for white people and against non-white people? A secure border secures every American citizen. Most of the people for a secure border are actually for legal immigration. They are, however, against illegal immigration, which is what a secure border prevents. And there is a very good reason for this. A nation that cannot protect the sovereignty of its borders is not a nation at all. It's little more than a campground.
Strategy 9. The free speech defense. You may not agree with what I say, but I have just as much a right to speak and assemble as anyone else.
This is absolutely true. The freedom of speech is a basic human right in America. It's one of the core beliefs that define the nation. It is part of the First Amendment in the Constitution, and that is how important it was to the Founding Fathers. The people here supports claim that they support freedom of speech by denying the freedom of speech to people they disagree with. Do you not see the irony? Their entire premise is poetic irony. They have become what they sought to destroy, and they take away what they claim to protect. Meets most of the criteria that he himself places forward for the identification of fascists. Does that make him a fascist? It's really too soon to tell, but the way he reacts when people don't agree with him tends to tell that tale. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button, and feel free to speak your mind in the comments section below.